Survivor Turning Back Time podcast. I am your host, Stephen Labine, and here I am with my co-host. I say here like you could see this. It's Jared Sheldon.
Hi, Stephen.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Jared.
For the third time. Hello, Stephen.
Jared's bitter that the recording software didn't do what it was supposed to do, but we caught it very early.
Yes, no, we didn't get that far in. It hurts my soul. Technology is hard.
Technology is hard. It never works the way you want it to.
No, and I'm not going to put any names or anything to this story, but I have a customer at my work who we have like an online portal that the customers can use.
Okay.
And calls me every time they have a shipment and is like, hey, it's not working. And I'm like, I don't know how. I think it's just your password. I've tried everything else. Like, I don't know how to help you anymore. Technology, it works for everyone else. Maybe it's your, I wanted to be in IT for a while. I was like, maybe it's, there's like something on your guys' end that isn't letting it through your VPN or something like that. And incredibly frustrating.
Maybe it's you, not necessarily me.
That would be an ideal answer.
I know, right? But
you can never tell an end user that it's an end user's problem, though. You just have to fix it.
That was very technical jargon focused. I really appreciate that.
That's true.
Good on you.
Podcast poison.
Podcast poison. I am gonna just go ahead and get started because we've done this 3 times now.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to be like Sean, just lay on a boat and not worry about anything.
So we'll just get right into it. Episode 5, Pulling Your Own Weight.
So, this episode, Pulling Your Own Weight, aired on July 5th, 2000. A couple notable things that happened in, between July 5th and the next episode coming out. Eminem's mother goes to court claiming defamation of character in a $10 million civil suit after taking exception to the line, "My mother smokes more dope than I do," from her son's single, "My Name Is."
$10 million is a lot of money.
She sued her son.
Oh, no.
Yep. So, the Slim Shady song, for those that don't know, "My Name Is Slim Shady," would have been released pretty recently to this if a civil suit came out. It's not like that was 10 years later or whatever. And then as well, Stan Kroenke announced the acquisition of the Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, and the Pepsi Center for $450 million from Ascent Entertainment Group. So, okay. I'm not a basketball person. I've heard he's a terrible owner. Oh, wait, he bought the Rams.
Did he?
He was the terrible owner of the Rams that moved it to Los Angeles from St. Louis.
Oh.
People hate this guy.
Anytime you move a team, you're gonna have someone hate you. Yep. I'm from Minnesota, and we hate whoever moved the North Stars to Dallas. I'm sure there's a name in there somewhere, but it's not coming to the top of my brain.
What sport is that?
That's hockey.
Oh, okay.
It's very important to us, Jared.
That's right. You're basically Canada.
Yeah.
And the number one song was still "Be With You" by Enrique Iglesias. So that's the time period that we're in. If you remember where you were during, it's not like the civil suit probably made that big of news, but when "My Name Is Slim Shady" was on the radio constantly, and if you're a sports fan, when Kroenke bought the Nuggets.
I am noticing there's a lot of Latin pop in the top of the charts at this time, which I'm all for.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s was I think the peak of Latin pop in America.
Heavy Enrique Iglesias. Don't tell people in the South, or I guess in various parts of Chicago that.
Explain?
Latin pop is still alive.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant on the top 40 stations.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have stopped listening to the top 40 stations a long time ago. It could still be there. Despacito was there at one point.
That's true. Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately by Justin Bieber, and then they fixed it and said no to Justin Bieber.
I know. I haven't heard that name in 10 years. I was with it when now it is behind me.
That's for the best. Yes, so let's just go ahead and jump into the episode. I will point this out, and I will continue to point this out. Sean and Dirk are the same human.
No, I disagree. They're terrible. They are a comedy of errors.
Sure.
But they are distinct to me in that Dirk always looks like a thumb. Again, Spy Kids thumb man. No, the two people that are the same to me are Greg and Joel. And it's during the challenge. I've said it before. I was like, where is Joel? Where is Joel? Turns out Joel was there the whole time. Joel, when he was throwing spears, when Will gets that challenge. But I was like, wait, that's not Greg? And then I saw Greg standing in the background. So if you listen back to the last 4 episodes, there are times where I've talked about Greg, and I definitely meant Joel.
See, I have no problem differentiating Greg. I feel like Greg has made himself into this comedy of a person. His personality is huge.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you what Dirk and Sean's personality is sometimes.
That's fair. I think the biggest thing... I've never mistaken Greg for Joel, but I have mistaken Joel for Greg, if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring that up is because later on in the episode, we're throwing things.
Yeah.
I had the exact same problem that you said, where you were struggling with Joel, except I wrote down who was on which team, and I couldn't tell you who was the darts person for Pagong, for Toggy. We'll get to that.
Let's punt that for now.
Punt it down the road. We start off the episode. Pagong sleeping in late. Everyone's pretty down. Everyone's struggling. Weather getting them down. Greg seems real sick.
Yeah, he seems to recover over the course of the 3 days.
Yep.
But they actually, I think that last vote was really hard on them. I think this is the first time that they probably knew logically in their brain. They're like, oh yeah, eventually we'll be voting people off. We'll be down to smaller numbers. But this is the first time I think that they feel it.
Yeah.
I don't think they liked voting Ramona off.
No, they really didn't want to do that. They don't want to do that ever again.
No.
If they briefly mentioned that Greg has an ear infection.
Right, which I'm assuming they meant. I'm assuming the doctors gave him something.
Yeah.
I hope.
I don't know. I don't know what medical procedure is for the game. Like if it's a non-life-threatening but still important issue to tackle, do they...
I would imagine so, because an ear infection can progress to the point that you can lose your hearing or have to get medevaced out. So I think you'd probably want to, but then again, this is the first season. This is the Wild West.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Do you think he got this ear infection from jumping into the random bubbling swamp?
Yeah, it probably didn't help. The standing water from 3 episodes ago, not the mud volcano, probably fine, whatever. But going into the standing swamp water,
you're right.
Yeah, that probably didn't help.
No, that probably didn't do him any favors.
Yeah, so we had the fuck around episode, and this is the find out episode.
We're gonna find out. So everyone's real down. Gretchen wants to clean the camp while everyone's just miserable and sick. Gretchen seems a little out of touch here.
I had kind of the opposite opinion, where I was like, Gretchen, listen to Gretchen. She's trying to, pick everyone back up.
Sure.
She's not going about it the right way, but I also think everyone's frustrated. Everyone's not feeling well. And she has been doing so much work for her tribe. And it might be a little sick of the mom role, quote unquote, of the tribe. And it's the cleaning isn't oh, we're going to dust our room. Your camp is a disaster. Yeah. You're sure the flag's not the most important thing, but you have all your tools laying around everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I started off the season really cheering for Gretchen or wanting Gretchen to succeed. I don't know that I still feel the same, but we'll get there. We flip over to Toggy.
Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention about Pagong first. Just one line that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And that is with Greg and it gets deeper in this as the episode goes, but Greg becoming the de facto leader. And, again, Steven and I are not representative of the communities we're talking about, but we're the ones with the microphones right now doing our project. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the casual misogyny that's internalized by everyone, kind of on both casts. Jenna uses the term Greg. We consider Greg. He's like the most important of the male leaders. And I don't know why that stuck out to me as like, Jenna seems incredibly smart. And like she does a pretty good job with the tribe overall, and like she could be a leader, but as whether she, I don't know the inner workings of her mind. Maybe she's punted that because she doesn't enjoy that role. But putting emphasis on that made it feel like she was basically saying like a guy has to be the leader.
Yeah, a little too. Hey, some men come lead me to victory.
Yeah, like if Gretchen or if Greg had been the one to suggest, everyone let's get up, let's clean the camp, instead of Gretchen, like would they have listened to him? Probably. Yeah.
Unfortunately, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that Greg leadership conversation, and Greg's like, I don't want it.
Greg doesn't want it at all. He's doing everything he can not to be the leader, and they're just like thrusting it upon him.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
And a classic example of like, that sort of, the sort of misogyny around the tribe that's sort of like underlying and inherent, hurting not just the women in the tribe, but also Greg. Greg doesn't want to be the leader, but this sort of, because everyone in the tribe assumes the leader should be a man, Greg kind of has to fill that role, even though he doesn't want to.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's interesting. I love these nuanced conversations.
It is an interesting dynamic, and you wonder, you take the same cast, you throw them into 2022, things would be different.
Yeah.
I think they would. On the flip side, Tagi is using the parachute from the reward challenge as a little umbrella.
Yeah, no, I loved that. That was so
cute.
smart.
They're just kind of going about their daily life. Sean and Dirk are once again trying to fish, and everyone is pissed off because they know that it is absolutely worthless.
So from what we can tell, from what they say and what everyone else says and the footage we have, they have been fishing for, 6 to 9 days? And they've caught 0 things.
Not a dang thing.
And they've tried nothing different.
Yeah.
They haven't tried, as far as we can tell, going out at night. They haven't tried another location. The only difference they've had is, like, trying on the beach versus the raft. And what are you... And they're still trying to defend it. They're like, oh, no, we're doing it. And Susan calls it out. She's like, you caught anything? Sounds like a waste of time, then.
Yeah, Sue is the vocal one, and I feel like that's the case just because Sue is a vocal person.
Yeah.
To be like, what are you doing? There's no point in doing this. What's the old adage about insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different to happen?
Different results, yeah. Basically, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's that's what they're doing. It's the same thing, and they're not going to get any different results.
I don't even know if they're trying to get different results. Like, it does feel a little bit like they are just using that as cover to go on a vacation. I feel like Sean would, like, he views this whole experience, actually both of them, I feel like they both view this entire experience as a vacation. Sean pretty much comes out and says, I don't want to be doing work. I don't want to vote people off. I just want to, like, lay around and have fun. And I'm like, then go take a flight to Fiji. What are you doing on this game?
Yeah, I have a direct quote from Dirk. He says in the episode, I came here to have a great time and to grow in my faith with the Lord.
Then go on a hiking retreat.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought a competitive survival game is your way to do that, but you're in the wrong place, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. So Jeff stops by Tagi and delivers weapons, delivers a blowgun, spear, and a slingshot. So when he's carrying it all together, I thought it was a rifle with a bayonet.
I also thought that. I was like, we're doing rifling?
It's very strange. It looks like he's just straight up walking through the forest with a bayonet. And like, Jeff, who gave you that? Why are you doing this?
I'm not gonna lie, I popped off though. I am a massive like stage combat and like fantasy and like weapons nerd.
Yep.
Oh, I love this challenge.
This was Jared's challenge to get excited for. Jeff explains that it's going to be a competition. They have time to practice. It looked like they had a good few hours for everyone to work with the spears, with the blowgun, to get used to it. And each tribe kind of goes about it their own time.
Hey, Steven.
Yeah.
Do you know why Dirk was good with the blowgun?
Why was Dirk good with the blowgun?
Because he's full of hot air.
Hey, hey. Yeah. So everyone takes some time, works with it. Sue gets real excited because Sue feels pretty confident with the spear.
She's gonna take down that patriarchy one spear at a time.
Sue wants desperately to go against a man in one of these rounds with the spear because she's determined to win.
Sue is low-key one of my favorite characters on this season.
Sue's great.
She has, first of all, the thick Wisconsin accent. Like,
gosh.
Oh, gosh, dear. I love it. And she is just so outspoken and so, and she's really smart. Like, she picks up on people really quickly.
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
I think what Sue has in advantage is she doesn't take crap. She sees through a lot of things, and she came to play a game.
Yep.
Which a lot of people just didn't come to do. Immediately, Sue is ready to go. So we get to the challenge, unless you have anything about the pre-challenge.
No, not really.
Yeah, I didn't really either.
It was a fun little montage watching them play around with the weapons. It wasn't really much meat on the bones there.
No, it's a good 5 minutes of people just throwing things and taking their time. We get to the challenge. Again, not really well explained.
This was the weirdest challenge format that we've seen thus far.
Yeah.
Because it was 3 rounds.
Yep.
They did blowgun, slingshot, and then spears. But only the spears mattered.
Yeah. So in the darts and the slingshot rounds, they were aiming at fruit. There was a random assortment of the fruit throughout. If you hit your fruit, it was added to essentially the pot of the challenge. If it was hit, then they take it out. They get a certain amount of shots.
Which, side note, is an inherently bad way to design like a point system anyway.
Yep.
Because bigger fruit's going to be better because you can share it amongst more people.
Yep.
And bigger fruit's going to be easier to hit. So there really is no incentive to aim for any of, like, if you have a plum up there, didn't see what all the fruits were. There's no reason to aim for that plum.
It did look like some of the bigger ones got hit more often. The watermelon, the pineapple. I'm trying to think of what else I saw there. Those were the ones that got thrown into the basket more often. So Jenna and maybe Dirk did the blow darts.
Yeah, it was Dirk because he's full of hot air.
I got it. Cool. I got it right then. Slingshot was Rich and Gretchen. Mm-hmm. It looks like the darts were pretty even. It goes by so fast and they don't really show results.
This was also the worst editing. It was the worst explained of the rules and the worst editing that we've seen. I was really disappointed because I was so excited for this challenge.
Yeah. Rich and Gretchen. Gretchen seemed like she did a little better than Rich. Again, hard to tell. And then finally, we get to the end round, the spears. This is a winner-take-all. You get 3 shots with the spear. Whoever is the closest takes all the fruit. And also a mystery prize. So you go Sue, Joel. No.
Sue, and then Joel doesn't throw his last one because he's already won.
Right, okay, you're right. Sue hits the board. They're both very good at this.
Yeah.
For picking it up today, they were nailing the board. It was like a 6-foot target, and each shot got a little bit closer. There was no errant shot anywhere.
Yeah, no.
So each one snuck in a little bit, and then Sue had one final shot to get inside. I want to say Joel got about 4 to 5 inches out from the target.
Yeah, he was within, not on the bullseye itself, but within the circle around the bullseye.
Yeah.
It was really tough to get any closer than that.
Very close. So Sue throws her last shot, doesn't quite get in there. It was, again, fairly close, just not good enough. So Pagong wins, rushes in, and gets their fruit and also chicken.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, baby.
They name the Jeff asks if they're going to name the chickens, and immediately they respond with breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Which it was Jenna,
yeah,
because Jenna scares me.
Jenna is very excitable, and those kind of talks, the small little quips from Jenna make me think, oh my god, who are you?
Yeah, no, Jenna's the ex-girlfriend that tries to poison you in your sleep.
I'm not gonna say she has crazy eyes, but it's up there.
No, she just like slips in little comments where I'm like, oh, you've killed a man, like 100%.
So Pagong wins. They take their fruit. We cut back to Toggy, where everyone's kind of pouting. Sue's pouting that she didn't dismantle the patriarchy with one spear. So Rich goes out to fish and catches an eel.
You can eat eels.
You can eat eels.
You can make. I've had sushi with eels in it.
Yeah, I don't know that they knew what to do with it.
No, and I was like, wow, like watching them get it. He was like talking about it like he knew Rich was that he knew what he was talking about, and I was like, oh, Rich really knows what to do with this. And then they're all eating it. I was like, Rich has no idea what he's doing with that.
Didn't know what to do with that. It looked very rubbery and very like they had to rip stuff off of it to even get some food. Nobody was having a good time.
It looks like ribs that you order from Chili's.
They were trying to talk it up so badly. Like, oh, this is going to be great. We don't need those stinking chickens. Nobody enjoyed that.
No.
It was brutal. So we go back to Pagong.
Greg, we touched on it before.
Yeah.
Greg's just absolute descent into madness. The man is becoming Heath Ledger's Joker before our very eyes.
Greg doesn't want to sleep in the shelter anymore. So he builds his own shelter. You look like you have something else you want to
No,
touch
I'm just
on.
like, if eventually we get, like, when we get to Greg's Where Are They Now, whenever he leaves the show or wins, I wouldn't be surprised if you're like, and he's still in the jungles of Borneo, hunting tourists to this very day. Like, the man is going insane, and everyone's around him's like, that's gotta be our leader.
That's the guy.
I'm like, he is... If I saw that man on my tribe, I would be like, guys, hide the weapons.
He doesn't sleep very well in the shelter, so he'd rather build a pile of leaves in the jungle to go sleep on.
So either he's an extreme introvert,
Yeah.
which I don't get that impression from him.
I don't either, but...
He's using that as an excuse to go get laid. Or he's... some combination of these. Or he's losing his mind and just, like, needs to be alone in the comfort of the trees because he has now rejected civilization and is returning to monkey.
Yeah, he runs... He starts sleeping in the forest, and Colleen starts to follow him into the forest. So yeah, you absolutely could be right. Maybe it's just a ploy to get some snoo over in the forest.
I think it's a combination of 2 and 3.
What struck me is the one. This is our first showmance, and we hinted at it last episode. But man,
we've gotten hints throughout the whole season.
It's true. They're cute together. Colleen seems all in.
Yeah.
Greg does not.
Greg's like, romance? There's no romance. This is just sex. And Colleen's like, I love him.
I kind of feel bad for Colleen because I don't think she sees it.
Yeah. She's like, he might foam at the mouth sometimes, but that's why I love him.
Oh, poor innocent Colleen. I don't know that this is going to end well for you. Back to Toggy. Rich plays with the snake.
Why is Rich discount Steve Irwin? He's just like, oi, crikey, I'm told this snake will kill me in 5 minutes. I'm gonna throw it in the water and watch it swim.
Yeah.
What?
Why? I'm sure the producers, like, warned them and said, hey, stay away from this thing.
I'm 50-50 on whether or not the cameramen have anti-venom on them.
They have to. Well, I don't know what the cameramen... I did research because he kind of briefly says what it is. It's a yellow bandit crate They're very common. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're like what their population looks like. They're so common that they're a little bit problematic. However, they're a little less dangerous than Rich made it seem.
Okay.
Yes, they're problematic and they will definitely cause you harm. However, it didn't look like untreated. You have a 90% survival rate.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was exaggerating. I think he said 6 hours was what he estimated.
He said 6 hours and then you're dead.
They might have also just lied to them to be like, yeah, you only have a 10% chance of dying, but let's tell them it's a 100% chance so they don't try to throw these snakes in the ocean. And Rich said, hold my shirt.
Yeah. It could be also, maybe this is me talking from 2022 and they've advanced in technology and found a better anti-venom. Or, I don't know, they just lied.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Or Rich exaggerated, or a combination of the three. Yeah. But I was like, at first I was like, what is, like, I was like, is there a reason he's throwing the snake in the ocean? Like, are we trying to see, like, better ways to swim?
No,
or
he's just messing with it.
No, he just is bored and wants to watch the snake in the ocean.
I just want to throw a snake in the ocean. Why should that be bad?
And the snake doesn't want to be in the ocean. It immediately comes back to the beach.
Yeah. Just absolutely ridiculous. But this is where we get our very first comment of Sean finally pooped. He finally pooped. You are on day 15.
That can't be real, right?
It can be.
First of all, he's a doctor. I feel like he should be concerned.
Yeah.
But like he had like not even a little, like 15 days?
Mm-hmm. If I'm wondering how much your body can one, you're not getting a whole bunch of food.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You're not producing a whole lot of waste. 2, he's probably more than likely dehydrated.
Yeah.
3, I don't know. Maybe he's just a little bit of poop shy.
I was gonna say, yeah, probably poop shy. I don't want to get too graphic, but like, man, that had to be the best poop of his life. You've been holding it in for 15 days.
I did it! I pooped!
I mean, his tribe, like, celebrates for him.
They do.
They're like, you did it, big boy.
Yeah. But this section is the section of, okay, we're looking at the ramifications of us being out here this long. Sean pooped. Dirk has lost a lot of weight. Like, so much weight. That it's starting to be a little concerning. Yeah,
and I also wanted to point out, just before I forget, one of the girls on their tribe, Kelly has been cross-stitching this whole episode.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was kind of cute. You don't really see, like, that type of, like, idle activity done that much now. And I was like, oh, that's neat.
I don't know that the luxury item exists as it used to anymore. They each have a luxury item that they could bring out. Anywhere from cameras, cross-stitching...
A Bible.
Yeah. That one makes sense to me.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Dirk is in rough shape, and everyone... I also just love how much they're done with Dirk and Sean. Watching Dirk be like, no, it's fine. Yeah, no, I know what tapioca is, and Sean being like, I explained it to him, and then they immediately cut to them in the woods, and Dirk being like, I have no idea what I'm looking for, dude.
I don't know what this is supposed to be. Yeah, that whole Sean and Dirk hunting, gathering extravaganza is a disaster. And they find a little bit of tapioca, but not much.
No, and just go, I think it's dried up. Like, I think we've used all our supply. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think they just don't know where to look. I mean, yes, you're looking for a wild root in the middle of a forest. Very difficult, but I don't think they gathered any information before going to do that.
And probably didn't work very hard at it.
No.
Probably gave up pretty quickly.
They seem the type.
They're, like I said before, they are on vacation. They don't feel like they're in any danger. Dirk does not think, I mean, spoilers for the end of the episode, I guess, but Dirk doesn't think he's going home. They feel so safe, but they have been passing all the work off to everyone else.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very clear and obvious that everyone's pretty sick of these boys. Everyone wants them to pull more weight, and I think they realize that and are trying. But again, with Ramona, too little, too late.
Too little, too late.
You should have done that 10 days ago.
Yeah, by the end of this, we're on day 15. Like, by the end of this episode, like, yeah, you should have been doing it a little bit sooner.
Yeah. Just a disaster. We float back to the other side, and Greg's singing away. He's feeling better. He's singing West Side Story.
Again, absolute, like, we are watching someone have a mental breakdown. I can't emphasize this enough, that he is losing it. And I'm just, in a cul-de-sac of talking about how much mentally unstable Greg is, but, like, if I didn't know that the show went on for 42 seasons, I'd be like, this was canceled after one season because Greg murdered somebody on the show.
He is such a bizarre personality, and I love it so much. I think he's my favorite person in this season.
He's one of my favorites. Every time he's on the screen, I love it. But I'm also bewildered.
Bewildered how?
Well, just like, I don't understand why, like, everyone talks about him like he is this great unifying factor, and he's very charismatic. And he clearly is like the comedic relief of the tribe. But they talk about him like he's this really like unifying leader. And then we see him and they're asking him a serious question. He breaks off running down the beach singing West Side Story, or building a sleeping bag in the woods, or is talking into a shell phone. And I'm like, that is all well and good, but why is this the one you guys are the whole tribe is looking to be their leader, to be their savior?
They want him so badly to be the leader, and again, he just doesn't want it, and I think he's trying to show them through being goofy and being, like, not a reliable person, and they want so badly for him to be the guy.
He fits a certain profile.
Young white male.
He's a charismatic white guy,
okay.
And they're thrusting him into a leadership position against his own will.
There we go. So after that, we get thrust into the immunity challenge, where this one I have problems with.
This challenge sucked.
This challenge sucks. One, the tree mail felt misleading.
Yes, I agree.
It made them seem like... So what the tree mail said is that 6 people are going to be in the water, 1 person's going to be in a boat. Mm-hmm. It made everyone think that there was going to be swimming involved, which I get it. Maybe you want to lead them a little bit, leave it a little bit in mystery. But it definitely put all the pressure on one single person...
Sure did.
To do almost the entire challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, I commented after that, like, we've seen that a few times now, where either one person has been put into the spotlight for a challenge, or one person's been taken out of the challenge, essentially, like with the stretcher challenge. That isn't something we see very much anymore. We don't see, especially immunity challenges, where one person is the protagonist of that challenge. We've seen it with bug eating. We've seen it the inverse of it, like I said, with the stretcher challenge. We've seen it. I feel like there's one more immunity challenge where like you picked somebody and that was the whole thing. Even the reward challenge for this one, picking 3 people to do 3 separate challenges, of which only one mattered. And I guess that makes sense for tribe games to move away from that, and I'm kind of glad they have. I think there could be really interesting variations on it, but just being like, all right, you're going to row the boat the first leg and pick people up.
Yeah, it was a little one-sided. In modern Survivor, the ones that are similar, the blindfold game that always likes to show up, there's a blindfold game where one person is a caller and the others are blindfolded and have to collect something.
Yeah, but the other two are still the other people are still doing things in that challenge. They're not just floating with a life vest out in the ocean.
Correct. But that's about as close as you're going to get to this person made or break a challenge. Mm-hmm. That and the ending puzzles. If someone were to blow an ending puzzle, I have people in my brain that I'm like, oh, yep, Those are big ones. But I'm not going to say anything because that's not how this show works. So yes, we get to the challenge, and it is essentially a rowing challenge.
Right.
2 people, one from each tribe, are in a boat, have to row out a good distance around a buoy, turn back, and pick people up and just get to shore.
Yep.
Very simplistic idea.
It's the inverse of the relay race. Like,
Yeah.
rather than being something you're passing along, you're just picking people up as you go.
Simplistic idea. I think, again, if you then, once you had everyone, had to do something with that, it would make the challenge much more interesting.
Yeah.
And not the one-sided affair. Once someone gets going, that's it. That's all there is.
Did they put a rocket booster on Jervis's boat?
No. However, he was a much better rower, and I feel like I could have known that just by looking at... Like, it's a big boat. It has to fit all 6 of them.
Yeah.
Jervis was by far at an advantage, and if they would have said that in the challenge, or in the notice, rather than, hey, bunch of people in the water, one person not in the water, it seemed a little bit aimed for Jervis to win.
Oh, you think they put the the tree mail was intentionally misleading?
No. However, I think they did a poor job of describing what it is.
It does. I have wondered. We've commented a couple of times about how some of these challenges don't seem incredibly balanced. Like noticing that the jungle seemed a little thicker for Toggy, seeming that the tree mail is misleading, and I don't think there's like some conspiracy. I don't think, but I do think that production in this first season, whether accidentally or on purpose, is putting their thumb on the scale a little bit to try to keep the tribes balanced.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen it go. It has gone Toggy, Pagong, Toggy, Pagong, Toggy. There's probably some coincidence there.
Yeah.
It also makes you wonder if they have a challenge, like they change the challenges based on like which one wins and which tribe they think will win, but that seems too Machiavellian. I don't know that they had their stuff that well together. There's just something that feels a little too convenient about that.
Yeah, I don't know that they were smart enough to manipulate it that way. Mm-hmm. However, the challenges aren't fair in the way they should be.
Yeah.
People should at least know what they're signing up for before they do it to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, boom, you've locked into this thing that you are clearly not going to win. And that's the way it goes. Jervis gets out to an early lead, gets about... does the entire length before... who is
Kelly.
Kelly. Yeah, before Kelly can even get halfway. And then just kind of coasts in. There's no real challenge there.
Zero suspense.
Zero suspense. Poor editing. Poor challenge design. Do better. Do better, Survivor.
Yep.
So Pagong wins. Pagong gets that early lead, then coasts. Kelly was upset.
Kelly was upset, but she rebounds really quickly.
Yeah.
We see later, I think later that day, she gives a confessional where she's like, you just got it. Sometimes you get embarrassed. And I hope to have the resolution that Kelly does and have that good of an attitude, because she was obviously devastated in the moment. She is a whitewater raft coach.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, you did? Yeah. No, that's why she took on that role. Oh. So she was on her home turf and got beat and felt the tribe put a lot of faith in her because of her occupation.
Yep.
But she bounces back within the day and picks herself back up, and it was a really good show of character.
Okay, well, maybe they did know more than I thought they did, because
they knew one person was going to be paddling. I don't think they knew that everyone... They didn't know, how long, how far out. They didn't know if it was going to be, like, in the ocean or, like, on a river.
Yeah.
I guess you'd probably guess ocean, since a lot of their challenges are in the ocean. And they didn't... both tribes seem to think that everyone else would be swimming the whole time. Because I think it's Pagong that says, like, we don't even know... Talking about Jervis, we don't even know if you'll get a life raft this time.
Right.
Or a buoy this time. And then everyone's in life jackets, and it's like, oh, okay, well, Jervis would have been fine.
Yep. And they just sit there. They sit on a floating object and just wait.
And then paddle when they get into the boat.
I cannot stress how poor this challenge design is.
I hope we never see this one again.
I don't think we do. Yes. Awful. So then post-challenge, it's just dealing with the repercussions, getting ready for Tribal. I wrote down this quote from Dirk because I think it was funny, and it really foreshadows what's going to happen. Dirk, I've failed at everything I've tried.
Yeah.
And you're right. He has. I'm trying to think of things that are successful. He ate a bug.
Yep.
Cool.
End of list.
End of list. We did it.
Dirk and Sean, I mean, again, I don't remember what... I think Dirk was a dairy farmer. Yep. Sean obviously has an incredibly difficult career, but both, like, and you know, we're talking about the characters on Survivor, but feels like in their outside lives have probably either not faced failure or failed upwards, because they, like, I mean, Dirk just kind of goes, yeah, I failed. All right. I'm not going to, like, he doesn't try to change anything. He doesn't adapt his, neither what he's failed at, nor his personality or approach to the things he's failed at or the people around him. I guess Sean's a different story because, like I said, he literally just says he wants to be on a vacation.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to throw out the idea that one's occupation and one's preconceived talents outside of the game don't always translate well to being in the game.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
Sometimes the people who have the most difficult careers, who have studied the most, who have put in time and are doing amazing things, are the worst and the stupidest players in the entire game. I have, again, lists of names in my head, but will not say it.
Yep. I want to talk about Rich again for a second because it's Toggy's Tribal. I don't know who wins this season, but I'm starting to get the feeling that it's Rich. That's not with any knowledge or anything like that. It feels almost like, and if he does win or when he's voted off, we'll talk about it more then. But it almost feels like the creators of Survivor did not create Survivor. It feels like Rich is creating Survivor every single episode. He's like, the way that like alliances are formed and the way that like connections are made and votes go. It's in its infancy, but it feels like he's onto something that even the creators of the show aren't onto yet.
I like that take. I like what you're saying. I'm not going to tell you who wins.
No, please don't.
I think that's really fun that you said that. Yes, so we get to Tribal Council. It's a pretty uninteresting Tribal Council. They really speed through this one.
They do, although Jeff almost screws Rich and his alliance over. Because he says, it was really, really straightforward. He goes, Rich, you know, I wish I wrote down the exact question, but it was like, Rich, you know, how are alliances, like, you're in alliances here, how does that play out? And Rich does a really, really excellent pivot where he, rather than talking about his alliance with him and Sue and Kelly, that isn't supposed to be known, but is what Jeff is hinting at.
Sure.
Obviously. He pivots and goes, these alliances you're talking about, like me and Rudy and Kelly and Susan and Dirk and Sean, that's just because you need two people to do a lot of the tasks.
Yeah.
So we go off in groups of two, but we're a unified tribe. Excellent pivot. I was mad at Jeff when he asked that question. I was like, you are giving way too much away.
Way too much information. Yeah, he does a nice job of selling the 2x2x2. But it's... I don't think it would have mattered. It mattered... Because you're right. He wants to keep the big three a secret. Mm-hmm. But for this vote, it wasn't going to change it.
Oh, no, it wasn't going to change anything for this vote. But I was, yeah.
Unless Rudy sees it and he thinks, oh, I need to vote with the two guys. But even the two guys weren't unified in their votes.
Yeah, so... Rudy knows there's an alliance. For some reason, Sean, Dirk, and Rudy have taken this weird honorable stance, quote unquote, where they're like, coordinating votes is dishonorable. No, it's not.
I don't know that I agree with that because Rudy is on board with these votes. He is picking... I want to say he's voted for the person who is gone every single time.
Yeah, but I think he's voting his conscience. They might be, like, they might be subtly manipulating him.
Okay.
But in a couple episodes ago, we see, maybe it was last episode, Rich say, we asked Rudy, but Rudy didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that you have a different interpretation, but I totally think that the three of those guys all think that coordinating their votes is, like, I mean, Rich calls it, like, a little sneaky. Like, I think they view it as a little sneaky, too, and they don't like that.
So, Dirk gets voted out, and I'm jumping to this because I have a comment here. Votes for Dirk: Sue, Kelly, Rudy, Rich. Votes for Sue: Dirk. Votes for Rudy: Sean.
Yep.
What do you make of that?
Sean said why he voted. He's like, we're going to physical challenges. That's the only reason I'm voting you off.
Okay.
And Dirk said, I don't like you, Sue. I'm voting you to go home.
Okay.
I don't think the two of them talked about it even once.
You're probably right. Dirk, yes, clearly the correct answer. Dirk needed to go.
Oh my god, I'm so glad. There was a point where I enjoyed Dirk being on the show because he's so cringe. That time had passed. I was no longer enjoying Dirk being on the show.
That's fair. But now I don't have to be confused anymore because it's just Sean.
That is convenient.
That's it. That's just Sean. Is it a random person? I don't quite know. If Sean and Joel ever get into the same tribe, I will be confused again.
Oh no.
But that will make that for another day. I think in my brain, I picture Joel as a bit more bulky than Sean.
I do too, but he's not.
He's not.
He's smaller than Sean, actually. That was what was confusing, because I expect him to be bigger, and he looks like Greg. It's like, oh, and Greg's pretty small. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Just real interesting how my brain will not separate these men into different people.
I mean, except for Dirk being annoying and Sean being, lazy, they haven't really done a whole lot to distinguish themselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we ended the episode. First, Dirk, how would he do in today's game?
I think that's actually impossible to answer, because I don't think Dirk played the game. I mentioned with, like, Sonia and BB how, it didn't feel like they were playing the game either, but, like, there'd probably be early votes because, Sonia's really weak and BB's insufferable. I love BB so much, though. Dirk, you can't take July of 2000 Dirk and throw him into 2022. Because he is not playing the same game as we did with a couple of the other contestants. If he was a little more of an active participant in votes and strategizing and working with the tribe, maybe I don't really see a good future for him on the show, regardless of what he's trying to do. He doesn't really seem to have a very good social acumen to those around him. It's almost like the opposite of Greg, right? Like, Greg magnetizes people towards him no matter, like, and he doesn't want it. He wants people to leave him alone, but he's magnetizing people towards him. And Dirk actually kind of repels them away.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing. That feels pretty core to who he is.
Yeah. I think he would have done better with an established game if he watched the show for 5 years and then came on and said, okay, I know kind of what I need to do. I think, the social game would have still been a problem.
Yeah.
I think the physical game would have still been a problem. But at least he would have some semblance of a strategy to kind of pull it together, which he just didn't have and didn't care to have. Oh well. Who's your protagonist for the episode?
This one was tough. I have said that every week now.
Yeah.
So apparently it will always be tough.
It will always be tough.
But honestly, Susan feels like the protagonist of this episode. She's working right alongside Rich. They have a group confessional, the two of them, where they're both talking to the camera after somebody walks away and is like, it's gotta be Dirk. Yeah, we should vote Dirk out. But they're, like, talking to the camera, but they're talking to each other. It was very weird. We see her trying and failing to win the reward challenge and follow her story the most. I just feel like I feel like she is, her and Rich are the leaders of their tribe. And this episode focused more on her than Rich.
Fair.
Yeah.
I have some post-Survivor Dirk stuff. So
Okay.
interesting. Dirk and Joel starred in a movie.
I'm sorry, what?
Dirk and Joel starred in a movie, in the movie Gone. I I had to look that up because I had never heard of it before. Gone.
What year?
They star in a movie. It is 2002. The movie's title is Gone. I'm not entirely sure if this is a like a biblical movie or like a church-backed movie.
I anticipated it would be, because why else are you bringing... Like, it's not like Dirk has... He's not an actor by trade. He doesn't have a huge amount of charisma. The biggest thing he shows on the show is attempting to be a missionary, so that makes sense.
Here's the tagline. 3 lawyers struggle to survive after the biblical rapture happens.
Wow.
So I'm assuming someone saw this and said, I want that man to be the protagonist in a survival movie, but also bring in the biblical rapture.
We want him to play a lawyer. This dairy thumb farmer.
Yeah.
To play a lawyer, he's not a biblical lawyer. A lawyer in a setting post rapture.
Yeah.
This is Left Behind, but like on a $10 budget. It sounds like
just real out there. It's listed as a thriller. So
what is its rating on IMDb?
IMDb, it actually has a 6.8 at the
What?
moment. But it's only been rated 42 times.
Oh, okay.
With 2 critic reviews. Let's see what the critic reviews have to say.
This is wild.
This hurts me. This shouldn't be this way, right? Yeah, so it's definitely a Christian movie. These reviews don't exist anymore just because it's so far out.
Oh, yeah.
One does. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to plagiarize their stuff. But just from the taglines, there's one full review and then one that just says potentially offensive. Maybe the review is potentially offensive.
It has to be, right?
I don't know. That one doesn't exist anymore, so that makes sense. This is definitely a Christian film.
Yeah.
A Christian-backed and produced film. So take that what you will. Also, he is married with 2 daughters and lives in California.
He did it.
He did it.
He had sex.
Congratulations! He survived the rapture and he had sex, so good for him.
I wonder if he's an actor now. He lives in California. He starred in a movie.
I definitely don't think.
I don't think so.
I really doubt it. Yeah, that's all. That's all I really got. We'll see more of just all the shenanigans that happen in this season, and I'm really excited to continue to get to them because I feel like as this season goes on, the game continues to grow and becomes what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the top of the episode, but I think this is the first time Pagong feels the emotional weight of the game. But, like, I think that might have hopefully woken them up to the fact that they are playing a game.
They are. They're playing a game, and someone's going to win $1 million in cash, apparently, because it's still just sitting in the tribal council. But they are playing a game. Someone's going to win. Start making moves, please.
Do you have a tribe you like better than the other one?
I do, and I don't want to say why.
Okay, I'm biased towards Toggy.
Okay.
I mean, I there's people I like on both tribes, but I think Toggy's been more entertaining thus far. Yeah.
I think from a TV standpoint, I think you're right.
Yeah.
As far as like personality standpoint, I really like Pagong. I think Greg, absolutely out there. I think Jervis is fun at times.
Oh, yeah.
Jervis is very hit and miss. He has very high highs and very low lows.
Jervis did well in the challenge. I forgot to mention that. I said last week that Jervis is bad at the challenges, and he did really good this time.
We rip into Jervis a lot, and I mean, Jeff ripped into Jervis last week, so Jervis
also ripped into himself.
Yeah. Jervis needed to step up, and he did. He dominated a challenge and saved his butt.
For one episode.
Okay, so you see the preview.
Yeah, the preview on this episode. Apparently Jervis says one of the most misogynistic things I've ever said.
Yeah.
Or I've ever heard. I didn't say it.
I hope you didn't say it.
I will repeat it right now so our audience knows what we're talking about. He said something along the lines of, the only thing dumber than women are cattle. Which, like...
It's...
Wow.
Yeah, and to put that as your tagline for the end of the episode...
And then to have the next episode be called Utter, UDDER, Revenge.
It's...
it sure feels like we're gonna get a lot of Jervis next episode because Jervis is going home.
Yeah, Jared's calling it. Jervis is going home. Cool. Let's end the show. So that'll do it for the Survivor Turning Back Time podcast. I hope you had fun. I have fun doing this. We're getting better at it. Things are sounding better. Things are looking better. If you like it, tell your friends. Post about it. Send it to people. Or just, like, keep doing what you're doing. If you like us, feel free to rate us on the Apple Podcast Store, on the Spotify Podcast Store. Give us 5 stars. I would like... You laughing at me because it's a podcast store?
Yeah. Head on down to the Apple Podcast Store.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, rate us. Send us reviews. It helps people to find the show, and it helps really build us up from all of the things sitting at the bottom of the barrel. And there's a lot of podcasts out there. So.
Yes, podcasts are our generation's version of a lower back tattoo. Everyone will get one in their 20s. Nobody will like them 20 years from now.
Fair.
So please help remove us from the chat, the chaff, and bring us up. I think that we do have a kind of a cool niche here, and I think there are people that would enjoy listening to it. I know that when I rewatch shows, I usually go to the Reddits and look for episodes of commentary and stuff like that, but nothing like that exists for Survivor that I could find, although I didn't look very hard, so I wasn't spoiled.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's people that would like to hear it, and so please rate it and share it.
There are definitely some early 2000s message board archives out there of talking about the show, but don't go digging too far. Don't go digging in there. Yeah, we're just tell people we would like to continue to grow and continue to do this. Jared, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, so my own personal Instagram, Jared Sheldon 8. It is the one and only one I have. So I'm not very social media literate, but I like to share dumb memes on my story. I like to see people's stories. It's a fun little distraction sometimes. I'll plug being kind to yourself.
Oh, that's
Stuff's
nice.
hard right now, so give yourself a little extra grace.
Stuff is hard right now, so yeah, give yourself some grace and keep listening to